Hey, so how do you support and recognize your team? If we haven't met yet, I'm Sturdy McKee. I help business owners make more profit and control their time, but we do that primarily through operations and putting in best systems, best practices, and that type of thing. So yeah, and I know I don't look like your normal suit or whatever, and I don't want to be. So that's another component of all this. But how do you recognize your team? So this kind of thing, this comes up a lot, and I'll give you the answer in just a second. But one of the things that jumps out at me and that I think about an awful lot is I read an article in the Harvard Business Review where they said they did a study and survey, and the average millennial needs to be recognized at least every 7 days. Okay, now when I read that, I won't use the words I went through my head in this video, but when I read that for the first time, I was like, how in the world am I going to do that? If I walk around telling everybody, hey, great job, attaboy, yay, nice job, you did a great, pat on the back, whatever. If I do that to everyone like once a week, it's going to feel awkward and weird and contrived, and that's a problem. It's also not scalable. Okay, so you can't replicate it and reproduce it. So my challenge, what I kept thinking about, was how do we make this into a process? And it's only one component of, and I'll break down the specific components that that's part of, but one component of an individual meeting, okay, a one-on-one meeting. So one of the questions I ask new clients and stuff is, do you have meetings with all of your staff every week? And sometimes I'll get an, oh yeah, and they'll start into it, and we'll discover that that's really a group meeting or a staff meeting or a department meeting or some other thing that is not a one-on-one, you with your employee, or at least them with a direct supervisor. So and this will be daunting, and I'll happy to help you figure out how to do this and whether it's even worth your while, but in a lot of businesses where operations and execution are really, really critical, having a regular meeting, even if it's 15 to 30 minutes or something, once a week with every employee, it pays huge dividends. And what we did was, I went back, and here's the risk of doing your live videos outside in San Francisco, right? But I went back and looked at our one-on-one meetings and stuff. And the one-on-one meetings, the deal with that was, how do we put components in there to make this a process that's reproducible, we can do and make people feel valued and recognized, and help with engagement in the businesses. So this is where the core value story comes in. You can add the core value story as an agenda item, and what that is that's these team members, these employees, sharing a story that what the breakdown is: a core value, one of your company's core values, who did it, and what they did to exemplify that core value through their behaviors. So that turns into a core value story, and the follow-up to that, once they get in the habit of sharing that with you, and the follow-up, when they do, is, have you told that person yet? So the core value story has to be about somebody else. All right, so it needs to be about another of their team members and something they did that was really kind of cool and special that exemplified and embodied the core value. So if you do that, then the next question is, have you shared it with them yet? And often the answer is not yet, or maybe I just did, or what have you. But what you want is for them to go back and tell that person what they did that really stood out. Hey, you were my core value story this week. This is what you did. This is the value. I thought that was really cool. You've built in a recognition process now that's not just you walking around, or like in me, I was thinking, oh no, how's this going to work? Walking around and patting people on the back and saying attaboy or whatever. You've got a genuine recognition for the behaviors that are really critical and important in your business and in your culture. And it's peer-to-peer feedback, and that's pretty cool. So the other thing, another agenda item that you can add into your meetings if you don't already have it, is wins. Okay, what did you do? Give me a positive or a win from the last week. And this is another way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of the morale of the individuals and stuff as well, because if they're coming up without any wins, they can't answer you, or they're reluctant to, or they're, that type of thing, that's probably something bad's happening. Whether it's at work or in their personal life or what have you, but they're not feeling it. And what you want to do there is really elicit like nothing positive happened over the last week, and keep asking those questions until they can focus on something that was positive. So And in this one, we very often want, one of their personal successes. What did they accomplish? What did they do? So now you've got these processes that are built in to recognize each individual in your company, support the culture, monitor and nurture and maintain the morale, maintain engagement, and really make them feel good about what they're doing and who they are and what they've accomplished. So try working those into your systems. Make sure you share this with somebody who can use it, okay? And maybe even comment or post like what you do with your meetings, or if you're not having one-on-one meetings, say so, and I can hook you up with a couple resources to get that rolling and started in your business. Hope that's helpful. Make sure to give me a call if you need anything or want help trying to figure out how this can work in your business. I've set up, I'll put a link down here, but I've set up open calls that you can schedule, no obligation. My goal is to help you. Thanks so much.